You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/future to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/future for 20% off. trustandwill.com/FUTURE.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Follow the Money is brought to you by ProfitX, the number one place to predict sports with the best odds. New users get up to $100 in bonus cash when they sign up with the code VSINMM. We begin the hour going out to the Progressive guest line. The Swiss Army knife himself, Doug Kezirian, joins the program now with the Athletic. You can follow him on X at Doug Kezirian. What's up, DK? How you been?
Good to be with you guys. You know, if you're going to wear blazers, I'm going to wear blazers.
All right. I think you wear a blazer every time that you're on the show, aren't you?
On this network, yes.
Okay.
I wear golf shirts mostly, though.
Okay. All right. You take this one a little bit more seriously, I think.
But, you know, working from home has its privileges. We're wearing shorts here, too.
Yes. Let's begin with the women's Final Four tomorrow. You've tracked the stuff, watch it, bet on it the entire year. Your buddy had the same thing, right? What'd you make of UConn opening up? And the number really hasn't moved. There's 6.5 against South Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm much more immersed in WNBA. I've gradually gotten into the women's college hoops just because of my partner who models it all is so good. So I've had to glean wisdom, and then I end up watching the games. And obviously I've been doing this for a while. I really need to tweet out my screenshot text him in the first quarter when I said, these rims look tight. And then later, Gino had the rant about the tight rims. I'm like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing with sometimes. I haven't been thoroughly impressed with UConn. It's really hard to evaluate the Huskies because of the Big East is so down, right? Just trucking teams left and right. But I will say they manhandled Tennessee. They spanked USC when USC was like 15th team in the country. But we learned later the Trojans aren't that good, incredibly unreliable, and just don't have any sort of talent around Jazzy Davidson. I also thought their best win was the first game of the year against Louisville. So they've answered the challenges. They just haven't had a lot of them. And you look at the last two games where they've played certain teams, they haven't covered those big numbers. It's just sort of a different animal. They press and they smother you. And against inferior competition, like some of the Big East, they can just steamroll you. But against a competent team that has a good point guard, like some of the opponents the last couple rounds, it's really hard to just boat race and cover big numbers. But this is a different animal. Like, I don't care what they are ATS. You're laying 6.5, very different than laying 30 against Villanova or something, right? It's just a different animal. We know that from college hoops. So in this case, with South Carolina, I've been kind of down on them all year, fairly unimpressed, all things considered. They don't have an explosive offense until the last game. I've been impressed. They're resilient, and they're kind of one of those teams that just takes out a leg and leans on you and eventually gets you. I think UConn ultimately covers, but I'm not in a rush to the window to bet it. I do think Sarah Strong is by far the best player on the court, and AZ Fudd's going to be the second best player on the court. And I just think Gino is great. Not that Don Staley's not, but I think that's a short enough number that I'd lay it.
Okay. Do you have a stronger opinion on Texas UCLA, which is the late game, I believe?
I do. So the Bruins only have one loss this year, and that came on Thanksgiving here in Las Vegas against Texas. And both teams are really different. The key for Texas is that they don't need to double team Lauren Betts, who's 6'7" center for the Bruins. She might be the number one pick. If not, she's going to be the number 2 pick in the draft. And they have a 6'6" center who can kind of hold her own, right? Not shut her down, but hold her own. And this Texas team is just so tough defensively. They are just beasts on D. So I actually like the under a little bit as well. But I just think Texas really showed me something in the last couple games. And not only defensively, but the offense has picked up. They don't shoot many threes at all, so they're kind of like Arizona in that regard. A lot of mid-range jumpers, and I just don't think UCLA is quite buttoned up defensively, that I still think the athleticism and everything will shine for the Longhorns, and they're just all over the place in passing lanes. I think it's a short number. I think that's the best bet here. Texas minus the 1.5 or 2.
I'm glad you mentioned the Geno rant, because I would think you could look at the unders here based on, he was talking about start times, but the three-point shooting's been poor, and the tight rims and these overinflated basketballs that said go up to the ceiling, he said, when you try to dribble it. Did you think he had some good points there with his rant?
Yeah, well, I noticed it. I could hear it on the first quarter when that certain venue when it was the tight rims, but the balls and everything. I think you have to pay attention to all of this. With the women's game, they have quarters, right? They don't have halves. So you can not martingale it, but do a version of that, because you're going to get maybe one quarter that goes over, but I would think 3 of the 4 go under. And fourth quarters sometimes go really high scoring because they can advance the ball with timeouts like the NBA. And sometimes there's a wide enough gap. If it's a blowout like we saw in the last round, the other team that's trailing starts to face easier, softer defense, and the refs get a little whistle happy too. So if I'm going to play an under, I'm definitely looking at first quarter, first half, things like that in the women's game. But I do think we're going to have relatively tight games here.
Okay, 11 days left in the NBA regular season. Are you looking at teams? I think the Cavs might do this. They don't want to face Boston. Could you see some seeding shenanigans or some teams playing games here in the last week and a half?
I mean, have we seen that before in the NBA? Teams sort of, take a knee. We thought that with the Lakers, right? A couple years ago with the Thunder. They did not do that, face the Nuggets. That was the year they might have gotten game 4 and lost in 5. But I don't think we typically see teams do that. I just think the NBA, you can't have this blanket rule of tanking teams, because remember, they're flattened odds for the bottom 3. So that's why the Pacers win, because they have the worst record. It's going to be hard for them not to be bottom 3. I also think it's all sudden number sensitive. We saw that with the Warriors and Spurs, right? It opened 11.5, closed 15.5, landed 14. Especially when teams are 15-point dogs. I don't think the coaches worry about them winning that game. So these are all things to take into account. But I don't think they orchestrate and pull the strings as much as we think they should in these situations. Frankly, I thought the league should have tanked more the year Wemby was the number 1 pick. We've all said that with the Colts, Jags, when Andrew Luck came out.
Yeah.
These teams somehow don't do it. Sometimes they do, like the Jazz have done things, but for the most part, I don't think they're worried about seeding in that regard. Frankly, I like the Cavs, a decent amount tonight.
Okay.
First half especially.
All right. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Doug Kezirian with The Athletic. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. So you like them. Is there another spot? You're a big spot player in the NBA. Is there another spot that looks good to you at all?
I don't love the card tonight.
Okay.
I think with Wemby out, I think the Spurs and Clippers go over. I think it's going to be a lot of 3-point shooting. Now, the Clippers have one of the slowest paces in the league, so that concerns me. But second half the other night went over when they were trailing against Toronto. I think the Spurs obviously don't have the rim protection without Wemby. He creates the most short corner threes of any team. The Spurs lead the most short corner threes in NBA history, and it's all because of Wemby rim running, and then the defense has to collapse and help out. I just think we're going to see an up and down pace. Clippers offense at full strength when you have Matherin, part of that second unit to start the second quarter, is really explosive. And they took Chris Dunn out of the starting lineup. I know you guys had ER on the show recently talking about when Marcus Smart doesn't play. I think this Clippers offense is much better when Chris Dunn is off the bench because he's such a defensive-minded guy. Instead, they start Batum or John Collins, and that just opens things up. And I think they're more of an offensive-minded team, at least a starting lineup in that regard. So I think these are things that I've sort of angles this late in the season. But I think without Wemby, yes, he scores a bunch, but this team can run and gun a little bit. And I think we're going to see a higher paced game. And I think we get over that, sneak over that total as well.
Okay. What do you make of this Lakers Thunder matchup? As OKC now, they open up 8.5. They're up to 9.5 at DK. There's a couple of 9s out there still on the board. They play one more time in the regular season. Would you attack it from a point spread perspective at all? Would you look at SGA going over his points prop tonight because this duel that we have right now for the NBA MVP? What would you do here?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued. I want to see the Lakers play this team because I think the Lakers are a handful offensively when they're playing well. Obviously, the Thunder have excellent defense. I think the number feels right. it feels a little high, but man, Thunder can go on those runs, and maybe the Lakers get a dose of reality because they've been sort of bullying the bad teams. I'm fascinated by this. I would actually look at Luka. He's going to be filling it up. I don't think there's anyone on OKC that can stop him. Now, a couple of years ago, the Lakers actually did well against the Thunder, but that's when they had AD, much different team. Obviously, a much different OKC team, right? With Caruso, they've added and whatnot. I think I wouldn't play the spread at all. I would look at Luka over for the points. I think he can go off. He might be more of a distributor early in the game, but eventually he's unguardable in so many ways, and I don't know who they're going to throw at him.
Your latest story in The Athletic was talking about college basketball, the Final Four, and you had a quote from Chase Michelson here at Circa who said, "If UConn wins, that will suck." End of quote. Now, why is that?
Well, most odds makers shape their futures book to protect the liability on teams they think have a good shot to win, and then they bait handle on the teams that they don't think will win. And then UConn was a team that he was sort of baiting throughout the season. Like Super Bowl Sunday, he posted 17-1 odds when the market was about 12-1. So, people that are market aware certainly pounced. And other books have other liability. You guys have talked about it, other books, And it's just I find it interesting because not every book lays off the liability because then they give up a lot of their profit. And UConn hasn't won yet. They still got to win 2 more games as an underdog, especially the championship game. And so, he's still not wrong yet. Just because they had a buzzer beater and a comeback from 19 down doesn't mean they have cashed any tickets, right? So I find it all fascinating how they implement their opinion, and I think it's awesome. And then you can always lace them off in the championship game if you so choose. But then again, Circa could take a $250,000 bet the night of the game that would maybe need them to root for UConn. Who knows, right? I just think that stuff's fascinating. I also think UConn's interesting, right? You have a team could win its 3rd title in 4 years, something we haven't seen since John Wooden's UCLA Bruins in the 60s. And we also have them as sort of the tournament underdog now. I mean, not quite Cinderella, but they're kind of a consensus underdog, just given the comeback, the shot, and now they're certainly the long shot of the remaining 4. So I think it's just funny how UConn, such a betting bully, 17 of 18 they've covered in the last 4 years of the tournament. Now they're sort of America's team or something like that. Yeah. I think it's just kind of funny that we haven't seen a potential dynasty also be the underdog.
Yeah, as a 2 seed playing a 3 seed, right. A team that they beat by 13 this regular season. So follow Doug on X. He's at Doug Kezirian with The Athletic. Great stuff, my man. Good to talk to you. Thanks for the time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Enjoy the weekend, guys.
Back at you.
You too.
Updated injury news in the NBA, and another point spread moved big time as a result. Find out that news next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So here's the news in the last, 15 minutes in the NBA that caused a movement with the point spread, and that is Anthony Edwards is, in fact, not playing tonight for the Timberwolves. So the Pistons went from about 3.5 to now 5.5 at most books. Total sitting at 222.5 now.
More and more, it looks like they're the 6th seed and maybe drawing the Lakers. Caesars also put back up MVP. SGA moved to 420. Wembanyama moved from plus 225 to plus 280 as he's out tonight. I can't see SGA having a stinker, right?
So I'm sure he's going to score 30
tough.
Tonight.
Damn, that's tough. There's a quick pickup at Will Hill. Will both Luka and SGA have 30 and 8? Pays plus 650.
30. They have to have 30 and 8?
Yes.
What, 8 assists?
Yes.
Oh.
Plus 650.
I also looked at Luka's first quarter points prop, which he has been, I think he leads the NBA in first quarter points this year. It's 11.5 minus 124. That's a heavy number against Oklahoma City's defense, especially when you got to pay 24 cents a juice.
Yeah.
So not worth a bet. You might have 15. I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to bet it. But
Yep. Yeah, you're right. It's a great card, though. And the Lakers have won 13 of 14 and went 15-2 in March. And OKC's won 15 of 16. The other one, and I agree with Doug that this Clipper game goes over. I mean, that'll do it for the 1 seed if OKC wins and they're laying 9, and the Clippers, who are now a 2-point favorite, beat the Spurs. So it is their last back-to-back, but I am surprised, considering they had an easy time of it last night, that they're sitting Wembanyama tonight. But, it's a good measuring stick and a good test for the Lakers to see how they match up against the big boys. I think they present problems, just how great this offense has been. And since the big three have been out there healthy, they've won 12 of 14 and outscoring their opponents by 9 points when they're on the floor. And during this stretch in March, Lakers are 3rd in offense, 9th in defense, and 4th in net rating. Luka, 37 a game and 123 points per 100 possessions when he's on the court, going back in this stretch when they're 15-2 with a close loss at Denver and a close loss at Detroit. They've really turned this around and figured it out offensively, and they got a lot of weapons. I mean, bringing in Kennard, who's 50% from 3, number 1 in the league, how much Hachimura means. But, as you pointed out, though, no Marcus Smart. And it's a 7-point move on the total. And Aaron Renning told us, you bet Laker games over when there's no Marcus Smart. He has also been a key factor and contributor in what he means defensively to the Lakers.
So I think they play again in like 5 days.
They do, in L.A.
In L.A.
Then the Thunder have a back-to-back.
Don't you think tonight is the night to bet the Lakers to win outright? Tonight's the night to do it. Because by the time they play that game...
Won't mean anything?
There's a good chance it means absolutely nothing for the Thunder. That's a back-to-back for them, you said?
No. The next, it's L.A., it's Lakers back-to-back, next night Clippers.
Yeah, they could have their 1 seed wrapped up at that point.
That's right. They might not play.
And oh, by the way, that number then, it's going to be in L.A. It will not be where it is tonight. And if the Thunder win this game tonight, then obviously that game could be meaningless. And you're not going to get anything close to plus $3 on the money line for the Lakers to win the game. And in fact, they could go off as a favorite because the Thunder might be sitting so many guys in that game.
I push back on what Doug said. They have played good teams during this stretch.
Some good
There's
teams.
been a couple tomato cans.
Teams, yeah.
Okay, so is the 9th ranking and turning this around real defensively? Great game tonight to find out. And certainly when you're going against the number 1 defense by a big margin, let's see what they do offensively. And if Luka can continue to be on this heater, and what Reeves and LeBron are doing as well. And it's always a big game like this, too. What Ayton am I going to get? The guy who's involved and active and ready to go, or the guy who checks out and doesn't give you much? But if I get good Ayton, this is a team that can make some noise in the playoffs because they have so many dudes that can score, and they're starting to play defense.
Well, don't I kind of need good Ayton tonight if I'm going to bet them on the money line?
Yes, you do.
But that's probably too big of a question mark anyway.
Well, I have to score. I don't have Smart, so I figure to give up a lot more because he's key defensively.
Man, SGA is up to 31.5 with the points prop.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps going up, and away.
Can you bet free throw attempts?
I've never seen that before. I saw 3-point attempts a couple years ago at ESPN bet, but that's long gone up. Luka's 30.5. How about this? So his points prop is below SGA's tonight. How about you take Luka in a head-to-head to have more points than SGA?
Like that.
Yeah, probably a little bit better than even money.
All this talk about Wemby and SGA, it's getting lost the season this guy's had.
Well, it's
33, 9, and 8, whatever he's averaging.
It's actually somehow getting lost that Nikola Jokic, the season that he's having.
Well, you take him for granted. Absolutely.
It's just automatic that he's going to go out there and do what he does.
He was also hurt for a while, but yes.
A little bit.
Yes. So I think this is a 7-point move, though. But I think this is high scoring, and I'm with Doug on the Clipper game that goes over as well.
Yeah. I think it's time to have some guts, get nuts.
Okay.
Take some Lakers here.
Yeah. Should the Clippers be laying 2, though? I do like that they're off a bad performance, and they got to lock up this 8 seed. I do like that.
Let me get the overall.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the young guys for the Spurs just come out, and again, who cares about a back-to-back and and we'll knock down some threes, and we have Johnson and Castle and all these other pieces, and we'll beat you. But with the Clippers healthy, though, I was really buying in when they were playing well and on that nice stretch, and they ran out Minnesota at home. Garland's been great. Matherin's been unbelievable. And Kawhi's been Superman. And when those guys are clicking, they present a lot of problems.
Wemby is the only guy who's out for the Spurs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. But what's the true number, right? That's a tough question.
Well, he has to be worth more than anybody else in the league.
Yeah.
Has to be. And I mean, it should be Captain Obvious here, but more and more people are coming out and saying, yeah, you know what? He was right about how much he means defensively and how much that's 50% of the game.
Yeah.
And if you just watch any of their games, how many times these guards are impacted when they go in the lane and they just automatically pivot and go, oh, no chance. I'm not taking that shot. There's no point.
He is a good interview. Number one, what he said with stating his case for the MVP and reasons why. The other one was, what's the biggest surprise that you've seen or noticed when you've come into the league and entered, or what you heard about the NBA? Guess what he said? And I love that he said this, because these bozos out there, I was always told and I heard that no one plays defense. It's anything but. The guys are so good, you play strong defense, and they still can shoot from anywhere on the floor. He said that's the biggest misnomer about the NBA.
Well, it's because
the guys are too good offensively.
Think about the pace today compared to what it used to be. And think about how the spacing and the passing that we have in this game.
You got to guard.
And how you're just running around the
yes.
entire time. Good email here, ftm@vsin.com. This is from Dunny in Ontario. Love the show. Just remember, the tank teams are now in the phase where they see what they have. Guys playing for contracts. The teams qualified for the playoffs are managing minutes. The next few weeks, the 30-point wins will disappear. Wemby resting tonight, bigger things ahead. Any team up 15-20 will empty their bench, play G League guys versus guys playing for contracts and coaches seeing what they have. Saw with the Spurs last night, that 22-point lead disappeared late. And it's something to consider anyway. And by the way, some of these teams that are going to be locked into their lottery position as well. And they're not going to be able to, like some of those teams will be, like the Pacers were a good example last night.
Yeah, they played the Bulls though. Someone's got to win the game.
Yeah, but
That's other thing. I'll die on that sword in the hill. Toronto had no business losing that game. They got beat by frickin' Precious Achua.
No, I know. That's the example would be the Pacers really can't move out of their spot.
Yes,
they're locked in. And the Bulls were sitting guys like Giddey. Why were the Bulls favored by as many points as they were?
Yeah,
run out of the gym,
right? But there's still a lot of teams are sitting guys, and still it's absolute trash what they're putting out.
Well, that's a pathetic loss by Toronto.
Yes. That's one where I'm pissed off. It was the same thing with Portland. Dallas had this long losing streak. Yeah. They're giving up like 130 a game, and you lost at home, and you scored 93 points. It's how it works. Can you explain Colorado? I mean, a 470 favorite. You give up 8 goals to the worst team in the league.
No, absolutely nothing's a lock. Nothing.
So are you strong on the Pistons then? Not only are you out with Ant, you're out with McDaniels.
I know. That's a killer 1-2 combo to be missing. I've seen it too many times in this league where guys are missing, and the rest of the players step up big time, have huge nights, and the team that's favored and the better team on paper going into the game, they take them lightly, and then it comes back to bite them in the hind end.
I'm expecting a big effort out of your club tonight. Hornets have to get busy living or get busy dying. The 8 seed's right there for them, and they can get the 7 because Toronto is capable of losing any game. After what happened last night, you're up to the 8. You have a doable schedule the rest of the way. Houston clinches if Phoenix loses, but the last 6 between these teams and Charlotte have gone under. Phoenix knows they're the 7th seed. There's not much they can do. Charlotte's got to win this game.
Agreed.
And you certainly got to get that 8 seed too, which you can do. We're brought to you by ProfitX. Join now. Get the app. New users get a bonus of up to $100 just for getting started. The code is VSINMM. You can pick from $1,000 round of golf club of your choice or a gift card. Win or lose on your play, you're still in the running. Get the app now. Code VSINMM. Download ProfitX today. Meat Man next.
This is Follow the Money on VSIN.
Can't ignore soccer. Most popular sport in the world, Paul. You know that, right?
You know it.
Yeah, we go out now to the progressive guest line. The Meat Man, Steve Wyss, joins the program because we win. And the Betting Weekly Studios. Meat Man, good to talk to you again. Let's begin with an FA Cup match coming up on Saturday. Big boy here between Man City and Liverpool. What's your breakdown? What's your best bet here?
Well, good day to you guys. FA Cup quarter-final weekend, and it starts with the biggest game on the card, really. Manchester City against Liverpool. And I think with this match, I've got a gut feeling Liverpool are going to be more competitive than people expect. I'm not saying they're going to qualify, but I do think they can take the match to at least extra time. So I think Liverpool double chance is a good bet at plus 105. Manchester City, I think the odds are too skinny on them here. I would have Manchester City more around even money to actually win the game. They're more like minus 140, which I think it's been a bit disrespectful to Liverpool. I think the match means more to Liverpool as well. City have already won the first trophy of the season. They've got one in the bag. Whereas Liverpool, realistically, this is probably the only one they can win now. I don't think they're good enough to win the Champions League this season. So they're going to give it absolutely everything. This match could be maybe a lot of goals, a lot of cards. Both sides are going to give it everything. And both sides will fancy winning the FA Cup if they can get the victory. But I think, Liverpool can take it to at least extra time.
Usually high scoring, no doubt. How about a unique way you're playing Chelsea and Port Vale with a prop?
Yeah, I mean, the proper underdog here. Port Vale, bottom of League One. Chelsea Football Club. I mean, if Port Vale pulled off a shock here, it'd be one of the biggest shocks ever in FA Cup history. How do you get with Port Vale? Well, what I actually like is the corners in this game, taking over 10.5 corners, because Chelsea are going to dominate this match territorially. And under this manager, when that's happened, they really racked up some huge corner counts this season. I'll give you some examples. They won the corner battle 9-5 against Burnley, 9-3 against West Ham, 15-2 against Paphos in the Champions League. In the FA Cup, both of the last two rounds, there's been at least 11 corners in Chelsea matches. So even if they get ahead early and score a goal and are on the score sheet, they're still going to dominate. They're still going to control the match. Port Vale are going to be defending for their lives, which means desperate clearances. If in doubt, knock it out, as we say here. Put it behind for a corner and defend that. They don't mind defending corners, Port Vale, because they've got a lot of big boys in their team. So, I mean, hopefully Port Vale can keep it 0-0 for a while and Chelsea keep having to really pressurise them hard. But overall, I think the corners here will come in one way or another. And, I mean, Chelsea should dominate and win, but it doesn't mean they're going to win big.
Sure. Meat Man's our guest, Steve Wyss, on the progressive guest line. Sunday, we can roll on with the FA Cup again. Southampton, Arsenal, both teams to score, yes?
Yeah, I think Southampton are a bit underrated here just to actually score a goal, because they're in brilliant form in the Championship. I mean, right now, I think they look like the most likely playoff winner in the Championship. They're unbeaten in 16 games in all competitions. They've scored in all of those matches. And, Arsenal, let's bear in mind, they conceded in the last round against Mansfield. They conceded against Portsmouth in the third round. So in the FA Cup, they sometimes put a bit of a rotated team out, and it's not always their first choice defence. So I think there's definitely more of a better chance for teams to score against Arsenal in the FA Cup than in the actual league at the moment. It's not, of the remaining competitions, this is the least priority for Arsenal as well. So the manager might just want to keep some players fresh for next weekend in the Premier League. Arsenal should win, and they should go through eventually. But I think Southampton can get on the scoreboard here. So both teams score nearly even money. I think it's generous because Southampton are much better than people give them credit for. And last season, by the way, when they were so bad in the Premier League, Arsenal failed to keep a clean sheet against them twice. So I think Southampton can get on the scoreboard here.
Two bets from the same match. Also Sunday, West Ham and Leeds. Take it away, Meat Man.
I think this is the most even match on the whole card. I really like my own team, Leeds, to do well here, because I think in the Premier League, and actually West Ham as well, fall into this category. Both sides are in this relegation battle, and every week in the Premier League, it's like they've got a noose around their neck a bit, and they're playing with so much pressure in the Premier League. And certainly in Leeds' case, they're just scrapping for points, and they're playing within themselves. There's more gears in this Leeds team. 0-0s in the last two Premier League games, but in the FA Cup, they've been able to release themselves and play more open and play more exciting soccer. And it's the same with West Ham, I think. The pressure it's a quarter-final, but the pressure's not there compared to the league. So I think we're going to get a really open game. I think both sides will be fairly strong in terms of the team selection. And I like Leeds here. I think Leeds are a better team than West Ham ultimately. I think Leeds can get a result. Historically, they don't have a great record in London, but funny things can happen in the Cup. So I like Leeds Tyno bet at plus 100. My favourite bet for the game, though, over 2.5 goals at minus 125. This only applies in 90 minutes, but I think we get at least 3 goals in that 90-minute period. I think both teams can contribute. Both teams will fancy the win. Pressure's off. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a good atmosphere that both sets of fans are going to generate. And, this has probably been my best bet of the whole FA Cup card, actually, over 2.5 goals, okay. West Ham Leeds.
All right. Thank you for that. Follow the Money, Pauly and Mitch Wyss on the Sports Betting Network. Steve Wyss, our guest at Meatman Soccer on X. And check out his podcast. Does an excellent job. Championship League below the Premier League. How about Sheffield United?
Well, both teams don't have a lot to play for now. They're in mid-table. But, I mean, Swansea's away record is shocking this season. It's the third worst. They've lost 12 times away from home this season. Only West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday have lost more away matches this season. They don't travel very well. And Sheffield United here, at plus money, you can get them. At this stage of the season, when you're trying to work out the motivation of teams, I'd rather go with the manager, Chris Wilder here, who is kind of quite a disciplinarian over the years. He's going to make them fight right until the end of the season. And he in the build-up to this game, I watched his press conference. He said he's not been happy with some of the attitude of how they've been operating on the field, really, in the last few weeks. And I expect a strong reaction from them. This is a match on a Friday. Good Friday over here. You get a good crowd in. So I think he'll want to please the fans a bit. And I cannot get away from this Swansea away record, which is so bad. They're safe in mid-table. They've nothing to play for. Sheffield United are going to be, I think, the more hungry team. They're the better team anyway. Sheffield United on paper are much the better team anyway. So I was surprised to get plus money on the Blades in this one.
Okay. You have a unique perspective here. League Two. What do you like in League Two when you were just at this match with Harrogate Town and you recommended them to get relegated before the season started? State the case against Harrogate.
When I finally went to a Harrogate Town game, I always said I would go to watch them in League Two. So I went last weekend, and they were awful. Like, I couldn't believe how poor they were. They just have no goal threat whatsoever. And I think Grimsby are going to win big here this weekend because, I mean, Harrogate hardly score. In their last 8 defeats, they failed to score in 7 of them. So already you're looking at a 1-0 sort of territory. And Grimsby look like getting the final playoff place right now. They've got games in hand. They've been playing well. They just beat Barrow 5-0. They are very confident, and I think they can certainly win by a 2-goal margin here. So it's worth taking them on the handicap minus 1.5 at plus 140. As I say, I saw with my own eyes how poor Harrogate were last week. They're too nice as well. They're in this relegation battle. They're trying to play like fancy soccer and pass it around a bit. There's no toughness in there. There's not enough goal scoring in there. Grimsby, I think, deliver quite comprehensively. The 1-0, that's the danger score here. You might want to have a saver on the 1-0 exactly at plus 650. Harrogate have lost 0-1 on 8 occasions this season, and Grimsby have won 9-0. Sorry, 1-0 on 9 occasions. But I think Grimsby win big on this one. Harrogate were awful last week.
Excellent. Great to talk to you, my man. We'll catch up soon, and we'll talk relegation when the Prem is back. Good luck.
Certainly. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Steve.
There you go. Good mix there. A lot of different plays, some props. That's the meat man.
Different leagues.
That's right. I wonder how many, I'll ask him that next time. I wonder how many clubs are within a 2-hour drive. Can you imagine?
15?
Oh, yeah, more than that. But
you think so?
Championship, if you count championship, League One, League Two.
All of it? The lower leagues?
Yeah.
I might be way light on that.
Remember?
Can you imagine what some of the stadiums look like?
That's what I was going to say.
And the areas that they're in?
Nigel went to a League Two game last year, and he put it on X. He had like this box suite package for a special season ticket holder, whatever. You sit on a picnic table and you get a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, there you go. That's the suite.
That's what when they're grounds, they hold like 2,000 people.
Well, wasn't it Luton where you're walking up in the neighborhood?
Yeah, yes.
You're going through like somebody's house, and then all of a sudden there it is.
That's
whammo.
Incredible. Masters almost here. If you think you know the field better than the average bettor, it's time to prove it. The VEASAN High Stakes Masters Challenge on Splash Sports. $500 entry, $100K guaranteed. Fantasy tiers contest built specifically for golf bettors. You draft 6 golfers, 1 from each tier. Your top 5 scores count. The lowest combined score across all 4 rounds wins. Your worst golfer gets dropped automatically. Missed cuts carry an 8-stroke penalty. Roster construction matters. It closes April 9th at 8 a.m. Don't wait. Get up there now. SplashSports.com/VSiN. Promo code VSiN. 50% deposit match up to $100. Free $20 quick picks entry. 100% quick picks boost. SplashSports.com/VSiN. Code VSiN. 100,000 guaranteed. Get there now. That's awesome.
Tonight is fun. We're going to recap our bets from last night, and we are all over the map with bets for tonight. We'll tell you our best bets in pocket plays coming up next year on VSiN.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
All right. The Colorado Avalanche could not win the first period. Vancouver jumps on them 20 seconds in. It was 3-2 Vancouver at the end of one. Obviously over 1.5 first period, no problem. It took 2 minutes. Tank Parlay loses. It went 6-7-1 thanks to the Raptors, laying 12.5 at home to the Sacramento Kings, and they couldn't stop Achua. And almost, I think it was a wire job. They cut it to 1 in the fourth quarter, and
they were leading pretty much the entire game. Just call it white. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Terrible performance to the Pending. Buzzer beaters under 3.5 for the entire tournament. There have been 2 so far. Overtime games under 3.5. There have been 2 so far. UConn plus the 2. Hornets to make the playoffs. No, minus 150. That is now flipped after Orlando continues to vomit on themselves and Miami loses games. UConn, Illinois up at Will Hill Caesars. Both teams to score 65 points, $1.40. Great job by Jonathan Davis. Put me on this tonight. This game ready to go. Sabres over shots on goal, 25.5. Last 4 games, Ottawa has allowed 29, 27, 40, and 38. Last 5 games, Buffalo 33, 36, 30, 29, and 33 shots on goal. Malinsky special, take Utah tonight, fading Seattle. Back after a long road trip, 6-game road trip. They've also lost 6 of 7. Good spot for Utah. Wild Canucks first period over. Sabres, Senators first period over. And you got to go goal in the first 10. Penguins and Lightning 13-1 yes run overall goal in the first 10 for the Penguins. This hockey schedule, you go from 2 games to 14 to 1 game to 14. Big schedule tonight in hockey. Good luck.
We'll get him, Pauly. All right, the Joe Ryan prop was a winner. Under 5.5 Ks, minus 122.
Had nothing.
Well, I mean, this Royals team not scoring a lot of runs. They did in that game. But today they lost 5-1. Bradley's prop was 4.5. Under 3.5 was a huge plus price. I looked at it, didn't bet it. And he only had 3. Again, keep that in mind with the Royals games moving forward, not striking out a ton. Pending.
Keep in mind the end play as well. I mean, some of these bullpens have been terrible. That was like, I think that was 12-1 Kansas City. The Twins had the tying run in the on-deck circle in the 9th inning.
Yeah. Hornets to make the playoffs 14-1. Hornets to make the play-in 4-1.
Come on.
Pirates and Braves most wins in April. Pittsburgh's 28-1. Braves 18-1.
How about the news today?
Calling up Griffin.
That's right.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me when hey Mitch, bet on a date, I would have said, I don't know, past April 15th. Typical Pittsburgh move. We'll wait a little bit longer before we bring up this kid. He's only 19 years old. And a ton of different new plays. I'm spreading my wings tonight across almost every single sport. First of all, NFL draft. I've been meaning to bet this. And then earlier today, this means nothing, but it was a reminder. That's it. The folks at ESPN were putting on a 3-round mock draft. And they had the Chiefs taking that tight end from Oregon, who's an absolute freak. Well, I mean, Kelsey, I know, is coming back. He's completely shot. What else would, the best tight end in the country, how much could that help up Kansas City moving forward as long as Mahomes is still in his prime? I took first position drafted by the Chiefs tight end 14-1. Here's one for you in the NBA tonight. Again, there's no Jane McDaniels. There's no Anthony Edwards for Minnesota. Have you noticed what's going on with DeSumo for Minnesota?
Been very good.
He had a triple-double in his last game. He had 18, 15, and 12. The game before that, he had 17, 8, and 6. 17, 10, and 8. 23, 9, and 6. People are making the case for Sixth Man of the Year. I played, thanks for the reminder, by the way, on X, Voice of Reality Check chiming in. PRA tonight. I'm going to ladder him up to 29.5.
Okay.
Over is plus 141.
Okay.
I see your Mammoth. Minus 130. What was it?
I think it was 140.
And I raise it.
Yeah, not bad.
I'll have him to go and win in regulation. Plus 120 tonight. With the Malinsky special. Kraken's awful. And I trust the Mammoth team. Also, you want to get nuts, Charlie? The Minnesota Wild over 2 goals in the first period.
2?
Yeah. I got 2 for you, Utah.
Wow.
Plus 320.
This is great. So many different ways to attack.
I'll take a push at 2. That's fine. But give me 3.
Are they plus 160 to score in the first 5 minutes? Or is that any goal? It's got to be higher than that.
That
right?
might be it. That's got to be that.
Gotta
Yeah.
be,
That's probably any goal.
I would think I think they score right away.
And I'm taking a shot with this.
Get heat.
You can do this at FanDuel and maybe a couple of other books. But I'm doing an SGA, MVP, and Concaniple Rookie of the Year parlay. It's currently minus 138. I just have a funny feeling that straw poll is going to come out and it's going to be pretty telling. Could be dead wrong on this.
I wonder if Henry Abbott had a little bit something to do with the movement. I don't know.
On Knippel?
It's moved 50 cents. He was on the show and said, I can't believe this. I researched it because I knew you were going to ask me about it, that it should be Knippel in a blowout.
Henry Abbott said that. Brian Geltzeiler told us that it has to be Con yesterday. He has a vote. And Zach Lowe gave up his vote. But Zach Lowe talks to a ton. He said, in his opinion, it's Con Knippel all day long. Rookie of the Year. But I can't wait to see the results of the straw poll tomorrow. If Wemby catches SGA, okay, then the odds are going to move. But what if SGA is the runaway favorite yet again? He's now minus 425 based on Wemby not playing tonight. He might go to minus 1,000 again. Who knows? But I'm going to parlay both at minus 138.
Can you put OKC best record on there too? Throw that on there?
Is that still available?
It is. $7. I'm surprised it hasn't moved considering Wemby's out and they're underdogs now.
Yeah.
We're brought to you by ProfitX. If you're not on ProfitX Masters Week, the perfect time to start. New users get a sign-up bonus up to $100 in bonus cash just for getting started with code VSINMM. Next week, they're dropping Masters of Your Domain contest. Make one play, $50 or more on any Masters market, win or lose, to get an entry to win a $1,000 golf prize of your choice. You pick from a $1,000 round of golf, a club, or a gift card to any golf apparel brand. Win or lose on the play, you're still in the running. Download the ProfitX app, code VSINMM, make your first purchase, earn that bonus, get in on the action at Augusta. Download ProfitX today, promo code VSINMM. Got to do it, and you also must support them with the creativity and one of the best Seinfeld episodes ever that they focused on that, never used the word, and how creative it was and put the show on the map. That and a second spitter, some of their big moments early on. That was well done and creative.
Right. I've been thinking like all show to bet the Lakers. I've not done it yet. 9.5 is pretty tempting. And I would also bring this point up too. What if Oklahoma City blows them out tonight? There's an angle there again where they're going to be like, okay, there you go. You had everybody available for this game. We had our dudes.
That'll be tough.
We killed them. And then that angle going back to LA, well, we don't have to play you again. We know what we have against your A game when we see you in the playoffs. And that way they would give LA like I'm just digging deep here, right?
I don't think that'll happen, but that would be tough to take if the Lakers can't compete tonight. They've been playing so well, and they figured this out offensively and with the big three on the court.
Well, I'm just trying to think about betting them tonight compared to when they get them in LA.
Yes.
How the numbers could be completely different.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd like to know if anyone has an FTM at VSiN.com, if anyone grabbed the Hawks at a big price to win the division and what they were before. They've won 17 of 19. They were in fourth place. And they were, a good distance back as well.
I don't think they were a massive number. Again, I looked more than a month ago.
You saw 12, right?
10. That's it. 10. This is a month ago now.
Yeah, but right when the trade happened, when they traded Young,
here I'll look.
They weren't playing well. I mean, to think this team's gonna rip off 17 of 19. Nobody thought that, even though the schedule's been easy. But this is nuts. I mean, I'm thinking that'd be a big price because of the Orlando hype. Also, Miami was sitting there 6th seed for much of the year, and then the Hornets were the bee's knees for a while. But this is crazy. They're going to win the division now. They're minus 2,500. Their magic number is 3. If this team comes and wins 17 and 19.
I'm looking at it right now. February 1st, they were 10-1, the biggest, and then 11-1 at the All-Star break, 10-1 on March 1st, the biggest they were the entire year.
Oh, okay.
I think that was at BetMGM. They never got any higher than that. The Hornets were, I grabbed the Hornets at 150-1, I think sometime in January or February.
Yeah.
They were 250-1 back on December 1st. But again, they started off the year in horrific fashion. They 4-14 start to the season.
That's what got them, I know.
That heat loss in early to mid-March.
And they blew the Sixer game.
100%.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. Prime time's next. We're going to take you through 4 hours of live betting games tonight. Cashing out with Dustin later on. You can wake up early with David Jensen, VSiN by the books at 7 a.m. Eastern. Good luck tonight.